So good morning, mate. Again, let's try to um, discuss more thorough history of the National Service Training Program, or the so-called NSTP. Okay, so the National Service Training Program, or the NSTP, is started with the passage of Commonwealth Act Number 1, or the AKA the National Defense Act. This act is to provide national defense of the Philippines, penalizing certain violations, thereof appropriating funds, therefore and for other purposes. So under the this is again, I'm sorry. This National Defense Act is under the government of the President Manuel L. Quezon in the year 1935. The Commonwealth Act Number 1 requires college students, specifically males, finish 2 years or 4 semesters of military training to be served cadets of the national defense of the country. Okay? So on August 8, 1980, the Commonwealth Act Number 1 was amended to give existence to the Presidential Decree Number 1706, or the National Service Law, mandates compulsory national service to all citizens of the country, composed of 3 main component programs, namely the Civic Welfare Service, or the CWS, the Law Enforcement Service, or the LES, and the Military Service. College students were given an option to choose one among these components to comply as the requirements of tertiary education. During the time of President Corazon C. Aquino, except the provision of During the time of President Corazon C. Aquino, implementation of the National Service Law, except the provisions of military service, was suspended by Presidential Memorandum Order Number 1. It became Basic Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC, which was effective on school year 1986 to 1987. So in the year 1991, the implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 7077 modified the basic ROTC course to expanded ROTC program as mandated. So the modification is composed of military subject in the first year and any of the following components: the MTS, or the Military Training Service, the CWS, or the Civil Welfare Service, and the LES, or the Law Enforcement Service in the second year curriculum. On March 18, 2001, a dead body was found wrapped in a carpet and floating in the Pasig River. The face was wrapped in packing tape, and the hands and face were bounded. Body was identified as Mark Welson Chua, 19-year-old. This student is an engineering student of the University of Santo Tomas. Reportedly, a victim of illegal ROTC practices led to a massive protest of the college students and concerned parents against ROTC program. Okay, so this is a product of the effect of fraternity in Manila. Okay, so they are against with the ROTC program because some of training center has enforcing a massive punishment or maybe massive training like a student, but like a military. But what the fraternity and groups they did was they try to convince people na yung ROTC program ay isang hindi magandang programa, kumbaga, ng gobyerno. Kaya yung ginawa nila is they uh, they use this opportunity para mag-recruit ng mga members nila. And then kapag ayaw na ng members or hindi kaya ng members or may tinatawag kasi mga yung mga initiation na hindi ka magiging prat member kapag hindi mo kayang i-resist ito. Okay? So ito yung mga ginawa nila, which is they are against with the ROTC program. But sometimes din yung mga training is talagang sumusobra, which is sometimes talagang marami ding mga namamatay. Kaya yung kung minsan the ROTC program, yung mga trainer nila is parang sumusobra nung araw. Okay, but not today. So since then, the expanded ROTC program morphed into National Service Training Program or the NSTP. Okay, so ito nagkaroon na ng maraming mga guidelines, mga rules and regulations, punishment for the seniors para i-regulate yung training. And then they also wanted na this kind of training will not fuel the different fraternity group para ma-enhance or dumami pa yung kanilang mga membro kasi fraternity is very unwelcome to any university kasi sila yung mga nagsisimula ng gulo or whatever. Hindi ko linalahat ng mga fraternity, no, pero sometimes daw kasi yung mga fraternity is sila yung mga nag-i-start ng gulo and whatever that. This is just my personal opinion, no, kasi may marami namang mga fraternity na maganda yung kalooban or sabihin na lang natin ng mga organizations like the Alpha Omega, which is a group of professional people, etc. Okay, so let's move on from that. So a new and latest amendments was brought for creating the Republic Act 913, also known as the National Service Training Program. This was signed into law in January 23, 2002 and implemented in school year 2002 to 2003. This comprises of 3 program components: the CWATS, the Civic Welfare Training Service, the Literacy Training Service, and the Reserve Officer Training Corps. Under the Republic Act number 9163 on January 23, 2002, also known as the National Service Training Program or the NSTP Act of 2001. This act was an established of the NSTP for tertiary level students, amending for the purpose of the RA 7077 and the PD 1706 and for other purposes. NSTP is designed to develop and enhance consciousness and defense preparedness among the Filipino youth by developing the ethics of service, nationalism, and patriotism while undergoing training in any of its 3 program components. So these are the components of NSTP. First, the ROTC, designed to give military training to tertiary level students, aims to motivate, train, organize, and mobilize them toward national preparedness. Ito lang ata yung kapag graduate ka, meron kang title. Sabi dyan is, if you are a graduate of ROTC, you are a reserve militar. So, reserve militar po ako kasi ROTC ako. The second one is Literacy Training Service, designed to train the students to become teachers of literacy and numerical skills. Focuses on school children, out of school youth, and other segments of the society. So these are really a volunteer wherein you become a teacher of out of school youth, mga walang hindi man lang nakapag step up sa sinasabi nilang school or high school. Like for example, marami pang ganito. sa mga rural areas, no? And the third one is the civic welfare training service, wherein contributory to the general welfare and betterment of life for the member of the community, or the enhancement of its facilities, especially those devoted in improving health, education, environment, entrepreneurship, safety, recreation, and morals of the citizens. So, for courses involving military services, though optional, it is highly recommended to take the Reserve Officer Training Corps, or the ROTC. All incoming freshman students are required and may choose among the three components. So you have a choice naman, pero walang LTS. So dalawa lang yung pinagpilian ninyo when you entered college. Okay, and you choose the CWATS program. The constitutional basis of the NSTP, or the Art 2 1987 Philippine Constitution. First, on the Section 4, the prime duty of the government is to serve and protect the people. The government may call upon people to defend the state, and in the fulfillment thereof, all citizens may be required under conditions provided by the law to render personal, military, or civil service. So, one of the kind of this is that, like for example, sabihin na lang natin ROTC, no? If you are an ROTC, reserve military, okay, so when the time comes, wag naman sana na magkaroon ng war and then maraming mga namatay na sundalo, reservists will come, okay? Reservists will hold a gun and then they will defend the citizen. Okay, so those are the example of this Section 4. On Section 5, the maintenance of peace and order, the protection of life, liberty, and property, and promotion of the general welfare are essential for the environment by all the people of the blessings of the democracy. So this is the rule of most of the rule of a CWATS graduate, wherein they have the obligations to protect life, liberty, and property, and promotion. So like for example, if you are in a very populated urban and someone's establishment is under fire and the firemen are not present because maybe they are away from the incident, okay? So you as a CWATS graduate can lead the people how the proper evacuation, the proper protocols, how to combat the fire, to lessen or to reduce the casualty. Okay, so those are you are entitled of voluntarily to combat the said fire, for example. In Section 13, the state recognized the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect their physical, moral, spiritual, and intellectual and social well-being. It shall inculcate in the youth patriotism and nationalism and encourage their involvement in public and civic affairs. So, like for example sa atin, no, graduate tayo ng senior high school that in fact maybe some or few from rural areas is marami pang hindi nakakapag-aral. Ang example lang natin is yung mga tinatawag nating badyaw, which is kung makikita mo naman masigla sila pero they choose to explore the road for Palimos, Baga, for example, which is maybe they just lack orientation, or maybe they don't know the real world after graduation in a elementary or high school. So this is our role na as a citizen, we have a vital role to nation building, okay, and to protect their physical and moral, spiritual, and intellectual social well-being. So, that's it for today. I hope meron kayong natutunan for this. And always remember that searching is always a great input to our knowledge. Good day, everyone, and let's meet again to our next lecture.